Quick ask. Subscribe now, then let's jump in with the numbers. You don't need a headline to feel that Washington is off this year. You feel it under gray skies on a Saturday, driving past ferries cutting across the Sound, tech shuttles on I-5, evergreens on the hills, and the same row of Craftsman houses that used to spark bidding wars. The scenery hasn't changed, but the sound around housing has. Seattle open houses that once felt like airports now feel like waiting rooms. Tacoma blocks have more for sale signs than just sold. In Spokane, Vancouver, and Bellingham, the same listings keep popping up in your feed, now wearing price improvement tags like quiet apologies. You notice agents straightening the same brochures, sellers asking, "Any showings this week?" A little too casually, neighbors wondering why that one place still hasn't moved. Nobody's calling it a crash on television yet, but you don't need a Chiron to know momentum slipped. What you're feeling is a housing slump before the headlines catch up, a slow slide that shows up in behavior first. In 10 Washington cities, that slip already looks like quiet freefall. Tonight we're going to map them calmly so you can stop guessing and start reading the signals like an adult. Roll the tape back a few years. Washington was the dream poster. Work from a laptop, look up at mountains, collect a tech paycheck, and call it balance. Seattle and the East Side turned stock options into down payments. Spokane and Vancouver became the affordable alternatives. Bellingham was lifestyle candy. Tri-Cities and Yakima were the value plays your friend bragged about at barbecues. At 3% mortgage rates, almost any stretch purchase felt clever, not risky. You could justify the extra bedroom, the home office, the peekaboo water view, because the monthly whispered, "You can handle this." Then the bill for the boom showed up. Rates climbed. Stock portfolios stopped feeling invincible. Tech hiring cooled from, "We're always expanding," to, "We're being selective." Insurance, utilities, and HOA dues marched up, while property taxes quietly recalibrated to yesterday's peak prices. The house didn't change. The street didn't change. What changed was the cost of carrying it. That exact same Ballard townhouse, Tacoma Craftsman, or Spokane new build that felt tight but doable at 3% now feels like a second full-time job at 7. Washington didn't slump because the views got worse. It slumped because math finally started voting louder than the marketing on every decision. When I say quiet freefall, I'm not talking about headlines or horror thumbnails. I'm talking about a pattern you can measure. Days on market stretch compared to last year. Homes that would have vanished after one weekend now sit through 3. List-to-sale ratios slip as offers come in under ask, not above. You see more red arrows on price history, sometimes 2 or 3 cuts on the same address. Inventory doesn't fly off the shelf anymore. It hangs around, one more sign at the end of a long, wet block. Deals fall apart over inspections, appraisals, or financing, and those homes creep back online with tighter copy and more anxious owners. Underneath that behavior is the choke point, the monthly. Not just the sticker price, but mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA or condo dues, utilities, and repair money stacked against what people in Washington actually make. A teacher in Tacoma, a nurse in Everett, an Amazon IC in Seattle, a warehouse worker in Kent, a small business owner in Spokane, none of them can pretend the math doesn't matter anymore. Freefall starts long before foreclosures. It starts when sellers need the buyer more than the buyer needs the zip code. We'll start where the cracks are easy to explain away if you only look at postcards. In Bellingham, the college, border, and lifestyle story still photographs beautifully, but the numbers don't. Pandemic buyers from Seattle and California bid up cozy 1990s and 2000s homes. Now students, nurses, and local professionals stare at payments that no longer match their paychecks. View homes and near-water pockets take longer to move, and a few forever Airbnb dreams are quietly being listed instead. Yakima was sold as the affordable alternative. Agriculture, warehouses, big yards, and room for toys. But older roofs, rising utilities, and higher insurance on cheap homes make the monthly feel heavier than the brochure promised. So investors get picky and first-time buyers walk after tough inspections. In Puyallup and the South Pierce Belts, more house for your money collided with longer commutes, higher gas, and bigger tax and insurance bills. Builders and resales both lean on concessions to keep deals alive. Vancouver, Washington rode the Portland-adjacent tax haven narrative. Now spillover demand has cooled. Identical suburban homes stack price cuts on the same streets. And remember, these are the mild markets on this list. The toughest Washington stories are still ahead. We step into the ring where safe suburb branding meets 2025 math. Around Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater, government town stability still pays on time. But 2,000 subdivisions and HOA neighborhoods tell a different story. Fixed salaries versus rising taxes, insurance, and upgrade costs. Days on market stretch, and the first price cut arrives sooner than anyone wants to admit. Farther north in Everett and the Snohomish County belts, Boeing badges and commuter identity once carried everything. Now higher rates ride alongside long, expensive drives and property tax creep. Builders whisper about buy-downs. Resale sellers quietly follow, cutting list prices in small, nervous steps. Spokane, which not long ago was the darling of remote workers and California escapees, shows what happens when overbuilt subdivisions and STR heavy bets hit softer demand. Post-2015 homes and investor pockets lean on concessions and multiple reductions to move. Then there's Tacoma, the budget Seattle, that felt like the obvious move when King County went vertical. In 2025, buyers underwrite Tacoma like a business decision, not a dream. Inspection and appraisal blowups rise, 2021 price listings walk down the ladder, and polite listing language hides very real seller anxiety. And remember, these are the middle-of-the-pack cities, not extremes yet either. Now we're at the part of the story everyone swore would never be written. In Seattle's non-prime belts, the glow of 2021 comps collides with 2025 buyers who bring spreadsheets, not fantasies. Condo towers on the edges of South Lake Union, townhome rows spilling off Capitol Hill and First Hill, Ballard and Fremont micro-units, segments of Rainier Valley, these used to move on brand alone. Now days on market stretch, and the first question isn't, is the view nice? But what are the HOA reserves and assessment history? Anything not truly A+ quietly cuts, then adds buy-downs and credits to keep mid-tech and service wages from walking away. Across the lake, Bellevue and the wider east side were supposed to be untouchable. FAIing badges, top schools, manicured streets, you can't overpay here energy. Yet jumbo loans, taxes, HOA dues, childcare, hybrid commute costs, and insurance stack into a monthly that breaks more households than anyone admits at dinner. Inventory thickens in specific condo, townhome, and high-end SFR bands. Bidding wars give way to incentives and awkward reductions. If even the flagships are repricing under pressure, moving one ring out is no longer automatic safety. It's a decision you need a playbook for. Next time, if you're buying or renting in Washington right now, your edge isn't being first through the door. It's being the calmest person in the room. That means you stop chasing fresh listings like breaking news and start watching the ones that have been sitting 21, 30, 45 days or more, especially after a second price cut. Those prices aren't sacred. They're questions. Does anyone really want this badly enough to carry that monthly? You never answer that question on vibes. Keep your inspection and financing contingencies. Let the inspection report become a negotiation script, not a formality. Ask for repair credits, permanent rate buy-downs, and closing cost help as if they're normal, because in a slump they are. Then you run the only model that actually protects you, the 5-year monthly. Add mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA or condo dues, utilities, and realistic capital expenses on one side. Compare that to today's rent for something truly comparable on the other. If owning only works after financial gymnastics, it doesn't work. Calm operators protect their future selves first and status stories second, and they are perfectly willing to walk away. That's how you use a slump completely instead of letting it use you. If you're selling in Washington right now, the market isn't out to get you, but it will punish denial. Pricing off your neighbor's 2021 brag post is how you end up chasing the market down in public. Anchor yourself to what's actually closing and what's under contract today, Then shape your listing around that reality. A pre-inspection turns surprises into line items. Fix the true deal killers, explain the rest, and lead with a clean incentive package from day one. A permanent rate buy-down, honest closing cost help, and a clear repair strategy. Instead of bleeding through a string of tiny cuts while buyers watch. If you're an investor, Washington 2025 is a stress test, not a gold rush. Appreciation and miracle refis are bonuses, not a business model. Safe now means the property pays you to hold it after taxes, insurance, HOA or condo dues, maintenance and reserves, even if prices sleep for years. Zooming out, the state isn't over. It's being repriced so payments and paychecks can live in the same universe again. Drop your city, ZEEP, days on market, and price cut stories below. Hit subscribe and watch for the comeback map in the next breakdown. We'll navigate this cycle with discipline,